Okay, it's 6 o'clock. I'm just going. Good evening. Welcome to the environmental scoping meeting for the Dana Point Harbor Hotels project. My name is Kurth Nelson. I am principal planner with the city of Dana Point and the project manager for the project. The purpose of the scoping meeting is to give the public the first opportunity to participate in the California process, also known as CEQA. Usually that is done through the scoping meetings or through written comments. The public comment period for the notice of preparation began on September 25th, 2020, and runs through October 26th, 2020. The public is strongly encouraged to provide written comments so we can have an accurate and precise record of those issues the public would like to see addressed in the draft EIR. So we'll give you some contact information at the end of the slideshow. Next slide, please. The organization of the meeting tonight will be kind of divided into two parts. We will briefly talk about the project, its relationship to the harbor revitalization and the entitlements required by the city to process the project. And then I will turn the meeting over to the city's environmental consultant, LSA, and Ryan Bensley, who will talk about the scoping meeting and the CEQA process. Next slide, please. I just wanted to give an overview of the harbor revitalization and how this project fits into that. The harbor revitalization plan and district regulations were certified by the California Coastal Commission in 2011 after about a 20-year process. In 2014, the city approved a coastal development permit for the commercial core portion of the harbor, which includes Dana Wharf, the Mariners Village, generally where the Wind and Sea is at the end of the wharf, and where El Torito Coffee Importers are located. That's the Mariners Village portion of the harbor. That was approved in 2014. In 2018, the County of Orange and Dana Point Harbor Partners, LLC, and Dana Point Harbor Partners Dry Stacked, LLC executed a master and dry stack lease for the harbor revitalization, which includes the Dana Marina Inn site, which is the subject of this project. In 2019, R.D. Olson of Dana Point Harbor Partners submitted their entitlement applications for the project they are proposing, which included a coastal development permit, a zone text amendment, and a local coastal program amendment for the revitalization of Planning Area 3 of the Dana Point Harbor. In March of this year, the city commenced the EIR effort for the proposed Dana Point Harbor Hotels project. And just last month in September, the California Coastal Commission approved, but did not issue, the large-scale remodel of the Dana Point Harbor, including slip reconfiguration of private and commercial slips and boater service buildings. Which brings us to our project, the Dana Point Harbor Hotels. The project includes the demolition of the existing Dana Marina Inn and 2 boater service buildings and associated parking structures. On the slide you'll see right now is the project location that shows the regional location in, there we go. The regional location within the city, and then a vicinity map that shows the location of the project within the Dana Point Harbor. Next slide, please. There we go. This next slide shows the site plan of the proposed project, which would include, as I was saying, the demo of the Dana Marina Inn and 2 boater service buildings and associated parking that exists on the site now. It would include the development of 2 new hotels on the approximate 9.16 acre site. One hotel would be a 130-room boutique hotel, referred to as the Dana House Hotel. The other hotel would be a 139-room affordable hotel, which is referred to as the Dana Point Surf Lodge, which would also include 3 dormitory-style rooms. There would also be ancillary uses associated with each of the 2 hotels. It also includes the replacement of the designated boater parking and space for boater services in the Dana House Hotel. Also included to facilitate the project would be pedestrian and vehicle access improvements. Next slide. The entitlements required for the project are zone text amendment and a local coastal program amendment. That portion of the project is a separate entitlement process that the city has already actually processed and forwarded to the California Coastal Commission for processing. The Coastal Commission must process and certify the local coastal program amendment prior to the implementation or the city taking action on the coastal development permit for the project that is proposed. So the city would later take action on the coastal development permit and then would certify the project EIR, which is the subject of the scoping meeting this evening. With that, I will turn this portion of the meeting over to Ryan Bensley of LSA, who will join us remotely, and he will discuss the scoping meeting as well as the CEQA process.
Thank you very much, Kurth. This is Ryan Bensley from LSA. I am attempting to change the slide. There we go. Okay, so I am here to discuss the environmental side of the scoping meeting here tonight. And we have several purposes for having a scoping meeting. First, as Kurth had mentioned, this is really the first opportunity for public participation in the environmental review process that's being undertaken pursuant to the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. This is not the last opportunity for public participation, as we'll discuss a little bit further into the presentation here. This is merely the first opportunity, okay? We have an initial study that accompanies the notice of preparation that was circulated in late September. We're right in the middle of a 30-day review period and for that document, and we're looking for input from the public on the general environmental topics that the community has concerns about, and then going above and beyond that general input, we're looking to get some information about specific issues as well. So you see, we're going to provide an overview of the environmental review process and the next steps in that process, what happens after the notice of preparation review period is closed. My team is currently in the process of gearing up to prepare an environmental impact report or an EIR. And what we'll be doing is reviewing some of the topics that will be discussed in the EIR. And we're, again, hoping to get some input from the public on that. And as Kurth had mentioned, really the best way to do that is to listen carefully to how the process works, and then ideally you would submit your comments in writing the old-fashioned way, and put your comments in the mail and send them to City Hall, or even better, now that a lot of us are staying home a lot lately, most of us have access to email. You can send your comments via email to Kurth, but we'll talk more about that. Okay, so let's talk about the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, overall, and why we have the law and what it does for all of us as Californians. The first purpose is to really disclose information about the potential environmental implications of a project, in this case, the Harbor Hotels project. And there's a few reasons for that. What we want to do is inform the decision makers who will be asked to consider the project at some point in the future. And we also want to inform the public about what the potentially significant effects could be. Hey, Kurth, I'm getting a little bit of feedback on my end. Is there something that we can do? Should we direct folks to perhaps mute if they're following on the YouTube feed? We'll see if that helps.
I'll try muting our audio as well
Okay.
to see if that helps.
Great. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So as I mentioned, the goal here is to inform the public and decision makers so that everybody has a real understanding of the benefits and any potential adverse effects of the project. Because, as we see in the second point here, we really want to try to identify ways in which the city and other resource agencies can take actions to ensure that any of the significant environmental impacts are avoided or mitigated to the greatest extent feasible. We also want to enhance public participation in the planning process, and the CEQA process does do a really good job of that because it provides for several opportunities for public meetings. This first scoping meeting, we have the review period now, and as we'll discuss a little later on, a second review period when the draft environmental impact report is available for review. And at each time in the environmental review process, there's information that will be made available to the public. Right now, we have information that's available on the city's website, which we'll talk about a little more later. And we also want to foster interagency coordination in the review of various projects that are due to come before the city council. As you know, the county has a large stake in what's going on in the Dana Point Harbor area. Of course, there's other resource agencies, California Department of Fish and Wildlife, to name one. Caltrans is going to have an interest in how traffic operations are working on Pacific Coast Highway through Dana Point, just as a couple of examples. And the environmental review process provides a great opportunity for those agencies to examine the project and provide valuable input in a timely fashion. Here's a flow chart that shows how the CEQA process works for, in this case, the preparation of an EIR. You can see that we have the notice of preparation that is out for review now, as I've mentioned a couple times. We're here at the scoping meeting, which, as I mentioned, is just the first of several opportunities for public review and comment. We'll take the input that we receive here tonight, hopefully in the form of written comments or emails, as well as other comments that we receive during the public review period for the notice of preparation. And as I mentioned, our team will take that input and all of the technical studies that are currently in the process of being prepared. We'll take all that information and incorporate that into the EIR. It ends up being a rather large document if any of you have seen a draft EIR before. But the good thing about having a large document is that it's comprehensive and that we make sure that all of the issues are addressed. And when the EIR is prepared, it will go out for a 45-day public review period, where again, the public, as well as the other agencies like the county, Caltrans, and others in the area have an opportunity to provide their comments as well. And after we have those comments, my team will work very closely with city staff to prepare written responses to all of the comments that we receive during the draft EIR review period. And those will be incorporated into what we call the final EIR that you see here on the flow chart. And after the final EIR is completed, that will be made available to the public on the city's website, again, for public and agency review. as we head towards Planning Commission, City Council meeting to have those bodies consider the EIR, and then if they agree with the findings and conclusions in the document, they will certify the EIR. And the certification of the EIR is actually an independent decision from the approval of the project and the various entitlements associated with it. What it does is it just has the local decision-making body going on record that they agree with the level of analysis that's incorporated into the environmental document. And so in the notice of preparation that's out for review right now, we've identified the topics that you see here on this slide as topics that will be addressed in the EIR. And many of these topics, we have technical studies that are being prepared. A good example would be air quality, greenhouse gas emissions are both addressed in a specific technical document that has a lot of emissions modeling included in it. You'll also see transportation on this list. I know a lot of folks have concerns in the development process with traffic in the community. So traffic and vehicle miles traveled will be addressed in that transportation section, traffic related issues. And this list is really intended to get you thinking about what are the topics that will be addressed in the EIR, and hopefully spark some ideas in you if there's any specific issues related to Dana Point on these topics as it relates to the project that Perth has discussed with you. The comments on the NOP are a great opportunity for you to explain specific sub-issue within any of these categories that you think merits further analysis in the EIR. Oh, and two other points I wanted to make. You'll see the bottom right-hand side of the slide, cumulative effects. That's a requirement of CEQA that the city evaluate not just the potential impacts of the project itself, but whether those impacts could combine with the impacts of other development projects in the area, such as, for example, improvements associated with the harbor revitalization or other development in town, and in turn result in these secondary cumulative effects, which are the results of the combination of effects from various projects. And last, another goal of the process is to identify if there are any significant unavoidable impacts identified in the EIR. What are some ways in which the project could move forward and be less impactful? So that is our goal with the alternatives analysis. And just a quick look at the overall EIR schedule. As Kurt had mentioned, the 30-day public review period is ongoing and will continue until October 26th. We're looking for your feedback by, I think it's 5:30 p.m. on the 26th. As I mentioned, the next step will be a 45-day public review period for the draft EIR. And right now, we're anticipating that review period will begin in mid-December. And we are targeting a planning commission public hearing in April of next year. And if necessary, the city council meeting in May of 2021. And the California Coastal Commission will review if the city action on the coastal development permit is appealed. This next slide here just reiterates where your written comments should be sent to Kurt Nelson, principal planner with the city. You have his email address on the screen here, as well as the address for City Hall. any of you are at home or there at City Hall and you want to just take a quick screenshot of this slide, that may be helpful. I think Kurth can speak to whether the city intends to share this PowerPoint presentation following the meeting, so that you can have that contact information available as well. And throughout the rest of the scoping meeting tonight, we'll continue periodically flashing this slide up on the screen so that you have the benefit of getting that contact information. Again, critical that the comments are submitted to the city by October 26th at 5:30 p.m. And as I mentioned, the initial study and the notice of preparation are available on the city's website. You can find them by clicking on departments here, and then you navigate your way through the menu that pops up on the left to environmental documents, and then you'll see the links down here for the NOP or notice of preparation and the initial study. And the initial study has a wealth of information about what's specifically proposed, the applicant's plans, and then an analysis of the potential environmental impacts, what we intend to study further in the EIR, and those issues which initially did not appear to merit further analysis in the document. And here's a link on the bottom of this slide to the specific location on the city's website where this information is available. So this concludes our presentation. Now I'm going to switch over and I guess turn the meeting back over to Kurth. I think we want to ask if there's any questions in the audience.
Thank you, Ryan. So at this point, we do not have anyone here at the meeting to speak, and I did not receive any emails from the public during the course of the notice of preparation. So no one had sent anything and included that they wanted me to include for tonight's meeting. So at this time, we do not have any public comments. For the public that is out there watching, I would encourage you, as I mentioned earlier and Ryan re-emphasized during his presentation, we do encourage written comments. Any concerns that you have about any potential environmental effects for the project, please send them. And if Ryan, maybe if you could put the slide back on with my contact information. And again, all of this information is available on the city's website. We will post the slideshow presentation from tonight on the website tomorrow, and the public is welcome to call me, email me, or write in comments, however you choose. We would really love to hear from you on this project as we move forward with the technical studies and the preparation of the draft EIR. With that, if Brian, if you have anything else that you would like to include, other than that, I think that would conclude our presentation this evening.
I don't think I have anything to add on my part. We're just, we have, I'm here from LSA, and I'm also joined by Ashley Davis, who is a principal with the firm, and she's also available to answer questions.
Okay, with no one here, we can conclude the meeting. And again, encourage the public to contact me if you have any concerns or any environmental impacts you want to assess as part of the EIR before October 26, 2020 at 5:30 p.m. And I can take calls or whatever. So please reach out to us before that. Thank you very much.